Well, hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, we're doing some rubber stamps. Well, a little while ago, I had a friend of mine contact me about making some rubber stamps. Now, they are the owners of Crimson 3D PS, and that is a local business here for 3D printing services. And although we have done rubber stamps here on the show, when we did them, it was a bit of an experiment. I wasn't sure how it was going to work, and I've refined that since that time. I want to do them with the WeCreat Lumos laser this time, which is the most recent laser that I've showcased here on the channel. But as well, it will give me an opportunity to highlight and support a local business, being Crimson 3D PS. So guys, let's get into making our rubber stamps. Well, before I start with the actual rubber stamps, we're going to start with the backer that we need, or the block, the backer block. And for that, I have some poplar. It's just a scrap piece I had up in the rack, and we're going to rip it. This is 1 3/16 of an inch thick. You don't have to have it that thick. It's just what I had. So I'm going to rip it, for starters, to a width of 3 inches. I need one stamp that is going to be 2 3/4 of an inch by 2 3/4 of an inch, and the second stamp is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. So I can get both backer blocks by cutting them out of this particular piece. Well, over here at the router table, I have a 9/16 diameter straight bit installed, and I have it set so that it's roughly in the center of the thickness of our board. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to route a dado 7/16 of an inch deep all the way along the length of our backer block board. Guys, take it in several passes. It's a heavy cut to be doing all at once. All right, and with that, I've changed my setup to have a 1/4 inch roundover bit here in the router table, and we're going to place a 1/4 inch roundover on the top edge of our board. Okay, and with our routing done, we're now going to cut one backer block to 3 inches by 3 inches and 1 to 2 inches by 2 inches. Okay, and that would be our 2 backer blocks for our stamps. We're just going to go around now, give them a good sanding. We're going to break all of these sharp, crisp corners so that we're not cutting ourselves when using the stamp. And from there, we can head inside and start setting this up on the computer with the WeCreat software. Well, while you can use any software to make your images for your rubber stamps, I prefer Lightburn. It's what I'm used to, it's what I work with on a normal basis, and it's what works best for me. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up top here to the Import tab, and we're going to import from our desktop the image for our rubber stamp. And we'll just click Open, and that will bring this here. Now, this is what I like about Lightburn. We have this image here, and we can very easily transfer this into a lasering design that is not a photo by highlighting it, right-clicking, and then right here, click Trace Image. And this will trace our entire image, and right here, delete after tracing is clicked, so it will eliminate our image once it's done. And this is what we get. We get our image in a laser form. So now at this point, we want to size this. Now the sizes that were provided for me with the rubber stamps for a large one with the lettering was 7.5 centimeters by 7.5 centimeters. And I've converted that to inches for making the backer block. But just to make things simple, we can change over here from inches to millimeters, and we can just place here in the width 75 millimeters. And well, it's a little too tall, so we're going to go 75 millimeters on the height, and that will reduce the width to 69. Now this is what we want. This is our design. So we need 2 images here, actually. We need this one, and if we preview this, this is what it's going to print on our backer block so that we can see our stamp. So this is great. What we're going to do is we're going to highlight this. We're going to click File. We're going to export this. We're going to export this as an SVG file, and right up here we'll save it as the large backer block. And we will save that to our desktop. All right, so now we need to make the rubber stamp version of this. So what we need to do is we have our image. Again, we're going to highlight it all, and we need to change this to a negative image, because if we click preview, you can see that this is what it's going to print. But when we engrave this, this isn't going to give us our rubber stamp. We need to engrave the background area. So we're just going to click OK to get rid of this. I'm going to draw a square around this, just like this. And what we want to do is we're trying to make a reverse image of our stamp. So we need this to be in the negative. So for starters, we're going to make this all one design. So you can click Arrange and Group. And this is all now one design. You can drag it around, as you can see, no big deal. Because we put this box around and made it all one image, and because we are clicked to fill over here, let me show you the difference of what it does. When you click on this, now look at the engraving. The engraving is all of the background, leaving our logo and our words intact. However, you have to remember, this is a rubber stamp. So this image, if we engrave this on our rubber stamp material, what you end up with is you're stamping in reverse. So we actually need to reverse this. So I'm going to highlight it, and then if we come up here and click the Arrange tab, you'll see right here, flip horizontal, and we'll do that. And there we go. Everything has now just been reversed. So just like we did before, we're going to highlight everything. We're going to File, click Export, and again, export this as an SVG, and we're going to call this large stamp. Okay, that is now our second file. And while we have this here like this, I'll show you what we're going to do. We need to make the smaller stamp. So for starters, we're going to highlight everything here, and we need to ungroup it. Now, the smaller stamp was explained to me that they do not want this lettering in the smaller stamp. So we're going to come down here, highlight from right to left, and then everything that's within that box, it will incorporate all of it. Ah, see that? It incorporated our logo up here as well. So we need to ungroup that. And now we will go from right to left just on the lettering, and we can just hit delete and get rid of that. Now we are left with this logo. And what we're going to do is we're going to group this logo back together. But before we change it, we're going to change the size. So right here we have this, and we need this to be 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters. So we're going to reduce the size here to 40 millimeters. We will reduce the size of our box around this. And it looks like we still have part of our lettering left behind. We can get rid of that. And all of this now, this is just the logo. So we're going to highlight this. We're going to Arrange, Group, and if we check our preview, it should be the negative. That's what we want for the stamp. And we have the proper size, so we will File, Export, and just like we did before, this will be the small stamp. And we'll save that as an SVG file. But if you remember, we need one for our the top of our backer block. So I'll show you what we're going to do. It's a simple process. We're going to ungroup this. We're going to get rid of this outer square. We're going to take the actual design itself. We're going to flip it horizontally back to the way it was before we flipped it for the stamp. And this now is the design that we want to place on our backer. And again, we'll just file, export, and this will be small stamp backer. And there you go. That is all of our patterns done. So at this point now, we need to open up the WeCreat Make It app. Well, here in the WeCreat Make It space, the first thing you want to do is import one of the SVG files that we made using Lightburn. So we're just going to click on the Import tab. That'll bring us to our desktop. And down here, let's start with our large stamp. That will be the longest engraving one. Now, guys, I'm only going to do one stamp because the process for both is the same. So you want to open that image, and here it is. And we now need to arrange it here on our material. You can see our rubber stamp material is in the laser. I have refreshed it so that we have the current view of our material here. And we just need to make our settings. Now, I'm going to run 100% power. I'm probably going to do 100 millimeters per second. And I'm going to start off with 2 passes, but I think I'm going to actually increase that most likely to 4. In our other show, we had done 200 millimeters per second at 2 passes with 100% power, but that was a 20-watt laser, and the Lumos is only a 10. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to autofocus this, and once it is done focusing and we are good to go, we are going to turn on our fume extractor and then start engraving this one stamp. Now, guys, there will be flashing lights in this next clip, and if that is something that affects you, do what you have to do in order to protect yourself. Well, while we're letting the laser do its thing, I just want to touch on the material that we're engraving. And this is actually rubber stamping stock. It comes by the sheet. It has a rubber front, a very soft rubber front that accepts ink and is designed to accept ink. And it has on the back, it's kind of a neoprene jacket or film on the back. I'm not exactly sure what the backing is, but it does accept lasering very well. In fact, it's designed to do it. Now, I got this off of Amazon. I did check, and it has gone up a little bit in price since the last time I brought it here to the show, but only by about $1. So this one sheet, 8.5 by 11, is $17. But you do get quite a few stamps out of one sheet, depending, of course, on how big you want to make it. Today's stamps are a little larger than I would normally make, but that's okay. We still have plenty left on this one sheet here to make plenty of stamps. So guys, I'm going to post the link to this rubber stamp stock down in the video description. If you're interested, you can grab yourself some of this. Well, the first engraving is done, and honestly, in looking at it, I think I would like it a little deeper. So I'm going to run the entire engraving a second time. And once I get that finished, I'll clean it up and I'll show you what it looks like at that point. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with this here. We're going to take it out. We're going to wash it off because it's covered in dust. And I'll show you what to do with the backer blocks. All right, so the first thing we can do is we can get rid of this. So we will delete that pattern and we will refresh our camera because I have placed our backer block into the laser. I've also placed our angle guides in there so that we can make sure that it's sitting squarely in the base of the laser. And with this refreshed now, what we can do is we can import the large, if you remember, I think we named it the large backer block SVG. So we will import this into the WeCreate Make It space, and we just need to arrange it here on our block, just like that. And we're going to focus this one in manually. I'm not a big fan of letting this thing go automatic on this particular process. So for that, you just rotate the back knob until your red and your blue dots align. There we go, and now we're focused in. So for this particular operation, what I want to do, we're squared up here. I like the way this is fitting on the backer block itself. We have a fill engrave, which is what I want. 100% power might be a little heavy. So we're going to drop it down to 75. The speed, we're going to put this up to about 250 millimeters per second. And we're going to do 2 passes on this one just to sort of see how we make out. We'll check it when we're done. And just like before, we're going to click Start. We're going to send it to the laser by clicking this little tab right here. And it's going to ask us to press the Start button. But first, we're going to hit our fume extractor. And then we'll come over here. We're going to close our shield, just like this, and we're going to hit our Start button here. Now guys, again, flashing lights, so please do what you have to do to protect yourself. Okay, and there we go. That looks pretty good. All right, so I'm going to get the other stamp engraved, and then we will, I'll show you how to put the stamps actually on your backer blocks. So in order to complete this project, we're just going to mix up some 2-part epoxy here. Guys, spreading out some masking tape on whatever surface gives you a really great disposable palette to kind of mix this on. Now I put it onto this aluminum binder. I normally would do it on the table, but I was warned in no uncertain terms what would happen if I got epoxy on our dining room table. So anyway, so I'm going to do this on the binder. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this 2-part epoxy, and very carefully we're going to apply it to the back of each one of our rubber stamps and place our stamp on our backer, making sure that it is upright, that it matches our engraving, because of course the engraving on the backer block is what you will use to line up and to make sure that your stamp is going on the way that you want it. All right, so there you go, guys. There is rubber stamp making for the local business of Crimson 3D PS 3D printing services. And there you have it. Rubber stamps with the WeCreat Lumos. Guys, this is a fantastic project. And while I have brought this to the show before, bringing it to the show again gives a couple opportunities here. It gives me the opportunity to showcase the WeCreat Lumos and its abilities, because it really is a great little portable laser. It also gives me the ability to promote a local small business, being Crimson 3D PS. It also gives me the opportunity to bring the rubber stamp making to those of you who may be new to the channel and may not have been part of that audience base back when I first experimented with making rubber stamps. That was actually quite a while ago, and as I said, it gives me an opportunity to bring it here now fresh to those of you who may be new to the channel. So if you're interested in this, I'll post the link below to the original show. You could check that out. It was a little rustic in our methods. It was trial and error, but we made it through. Today's episode has been a lot more, this is the way it is. And there may be a little bit of information missing. There may be a little bit of tweaks here or there. But if you were to watch the original video, that brings all of that information. Putting the two together as a series really brings the whole project together as a whole and gives you a really great idea of how you can make your own. Guys, regardless of who this is for, regardless of the company, it doesn't have to be a company. It doesn't have to be anything that you are asked to do. How about making rubber stamps for the young ones to accentuate their artwork? What child doesn't like to play with rubber stamps, stamping happy faces or letters or their name or whatever, their favorite Disney character? Any of that, you can make a rubber stamp of it and allow them to stamp the heck out of that on all their artwork. I mean, it is a win-win situation. And for the price of that rubber stamp mat, the number of stamps that you can get out of that is absolutely phenomenal. Way cheaper than getting them from your local crafting store or having them custom made, which is another big expense in itself. So honestly, if you have access to a diode laser, if you have the ability to cut some backer blocks, you got a little bit of two-part epoxy to glue the two pieces together, and just a little bit of imagination there in your noodle, guys, you got a great opportunity to make a ton of custom stamps for those that you love. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week. I hope that Crimson 3D enjoys their stamps. This was a lot of fun to bring to you today. If you haven't already, if you found any part of today's show likable, enjoyable, informative, why not like and subscribe to the channel? We have an amazing audience base here, and I'm hoping that you're going to consider becoming a part of that. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're going to give this one a try for yourself. I hope you're going to check out the links down below and watch the other episode and maybe get all those little details that may have been missed in today's show. But more importantly, I hope you're going to join me again next week when I bring you yet another Alternative Tuesdays.